So please welcome Steve Patterson.
Hi, Montreal. I think we have something in common. For one, I live in Montreal. And also, I grew up in a house with parents. My dad's from Ireland. My mom is from Quebec. So that's how I grew up. Dad, very friendly, but he liked to always start arguments and fights. Mom always moving to a separate part of the house, trying to call it her own. Still wanted Dad to pay for it, though. I get to travel to Ireland a lot just to see if there are other people in the world like my dad. And it turns out there are. There is an entire country, I don't know if you know this, of very friendly, cheap, shifty people. The Irish are very tricky. They cannot resist the opportunity to trick you. Time of day, perfect chance for a trick in Ireland. I was over there the first time. I didn't know anyone except Irish comics. I don't know if you know this, but comics like to go drinking during the day, and so do Irish people. Their ideal break time is around 2:30 in the afternoon, but the Irish have thought of a new way to say 2:30, just for a trick. He calls me up and goes, "Stephen, we'll meet you at the pub, 2:30. And then he hung up. How are you supposed to crack that code? Had to use my basic Canadian math knowledge. Showed up at 1. 2:30 is 1, yes? He didn't show up for an hour and a half. So I had to drink with Irish people in Ireland for an hour and a half, which would be a lot of fun if it wasn't for shifty trick number 2. When you ask for a beer in Ireland, they assume you mean Guinness. That's what they'll give you, a Guinness, which is not even beer. Guinness has its own category. It's called stout, right? What a lot of you might not know is that stout is a Gaelic word that means roast beef. No beer is that color. It's a pint-sized glass of gravy with mashed potatoes on top. That's how thick the gravy is. The potatoes can't penetrate it. It's a nice Sunday meal, but you wouldn't eat 12 Sunday meals in an hour and a half, would you? I was trying to fit in, my new Irish friends. I actually had 12 Guinnesses. 12 Guinea, I guess, would be the correct mathematical term. In an hour and a half. True story. Then I realized shifty trick number 3, Irish drinking songs. The Irish have all these drinking songs that we all hear on St. Patrick's Day because they want the world to believe they are fun-loving, musical, lyrical people. And they devoted so much effort into writing these drinking songs. They don't even have the energy left to move their arms when they dance. But as it turns out, that is not why they wrote those songs. They wrote those songs because if you consume 12 Guinea in an hour and a half, there is no way you can speak anymore. But there's a good chance you can slur a song. And the beauty of an Irish drinking song is you do not need to know the words. Nobody does. You get the melody once, sing whatever you want. No one's listening to you. They're all singing their own version of the song. Her eyes, they shine like they're shining. She swore she had pigeons for hands. She had hair all over her shoulders. Come to think of it, she was a man. All right. That'll get you through. I know that I'm not from this country, but I'm very excited as an Irish person that there is another Irish president of the United States, Barack Obama. That is a fantastic Irish leader. That name is practically in an Irish drink. Oh, the boys were getting ready. There was Paddy and Maddie and Tama. The drinks were flowing steady. They were getting right Obama'd. You could fit that in there. No one would question that. In actuality, I guess he's not Irish, but I wish he were Irish. Because if Barack Obama were Irish, he wouldn't have to respond to asinine questions so diplomatically. As it is now, he has to be very diplomatic when people ask him moronic questions. President Obama, what took you so long to respond to the BP oil disaster? He actually has to say, well, that's a good question, Martha. It took me so long. Well, we didn't have all the necessary information at first, resources to devote to this disaster, but as more information and more resources have become available, we are tackling this problem. Now, make no mistake, from here on in, I take full responsibility for the response to this disaster. He actually said that. He takes full responsibility. I don't know if black presidents have bigger penises than white presidents. But clearly, they have bigger balls. Because that is an incredible statement. Taking full responsibility for something you are in no way responsible for. That is beaucoup de balls. I'm not fluent, sorry. But I would still rather see the Irish Barack Obama respond to that same question, just with seething sarcastic rage. President Obama, what took you so long to respond to the BP oil disaster? What, are you an arsehole? You know I'm the president of the United States, right? I'm the busiest human being on planet Earth. Let's see, what was I doing? First, I spent every waking moment since I was elected pushing through an unprecedented health care bill that white people couldn't get through in 1 trillion years. Then, I had to give several $1 trillion to pompous, selfish, soulless bankers whose heads are so far up their own arse, when they fart, it's a sneeze. Write that down, that's pretty good. I also happen to be in charge of the day-to-day operations of General Motors. In my spare time, I picked up a Nobel Peace Prize for trying to find a solution to a 1 trillion-year-old war. And while we're talking about it, I don't think there is a solution. I think those people like war the same way Canadians like fighting in hockey. I might not like it or understand it, but they do, and I don't have the time to deal with it. So God bless them. And finally, I don't know if you've seen my wife, but she is a fine, sexy, freakishly strong, horny woman. And if I don't give her a taste of the Blarney Stone at least twice a week, nothing, and I mean nothing in this country gets done. So that's why I didn't respond to the BP oil disaster sooner. Yeah. And while we're at it, screw the British. I hate them. First they took part of my ancestors' land, and now they're pissing petroleum all over North America's shores like a kid at the pool. Well, what are we gonna do, President Obama? Nuke them? I say, yes we can. So ask not what I can do about the BP oil disaster, but what the BP oil disaster can do about itself. Because I know as much about deep-sea oil drilling as the last president did about being a competent president. Oh, no, he didn't. Yes, I did. I went there. I said it. Now, are there any more questions? That's what I thought. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going home to the unfortunately named White House to reintroduce the First Lady to the presidential member. God bless America. Peace out.